So again, like Sam said, we're not here just to sell shoes. We're trying to storytell, and a lot of the storytelling from the Bronx gets lost. A lot of talent comes through the Bronx.
Apothecary on the wave. Shoes off, pause, yeah, let's get it. Shoes off, but the vibes stay loud. Apothecary heat, yeah, I'm flexing in the crowd. Socks on the scene, that's a subtle little flex.
This episode of the Shoes Off podcast is brought to you by the upcoming Apothecary 3D printed mule. This pair of shoes that we're dropping is actually our first pair of shoes ever that we're releasing, but it's also fully 3D printed, which is wild. It's like a future tech. At Apothecary, our goal is always comfort first. We want to make the most comfortable and honestly good-looking things possible. We've done that with our socks, and now we're doing that with our upcoming pair of footwear, the Apothecary Mule. Like I said, this shoe is fully 3D printed. It's actually 3D printed by a company called Zellerfeld, which just made Nike's Air Max 1000s. Like that shoe, this shoe is 3D printed with thermoplastic polyurethane, or TPU, and it's basically impossible for me to explain how comfortable this shoe is unless you actually try it. And I don't know if you're listening to this episode or watching this episode, I can show you if you're watching like how soft this material is, and you will have the opportunity to try this shoe on foot at an event that we're holding, a launch event on August 30th at Takeout NY, the place that we're actually filming this episode. So if you want a pair of our upcoming Apothecary mules, they drop officially online first at apothecary.com, APTHCRY.com for $150. They're dropping at 11 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure to get on the website right when they drop because they are incredibly limited. They're also dropping at Zellerfeld.com at the same time. There are 5 different colorways: black, oat, red, blue, and orange. And if you actually want to try these out in person, feel how good they feel in person, and maybe grab a pair for yourself, like I said, we're doing the launch event the following day on August 30th at Takeout NY at 12 p.m. So make sure to stop by Takeout NY if you're in the New York City area, or even if you're not. It's going to be a blast. Again, that's where we're filming this podcast. Look how dope this place looks. If you're listening to it, you can't really see how dope it is, but it looks great. There might be some random like sneaker drops from Takeout NY that they've kind of been holding in the vault. We're also going to be giving some stuff away, and of course, we're going to have the Apothecary Mule for purchase. Again, pretty limited. I think we only have like 2 size runs of it, so if you want to grab a pair of them, be there right when we start. I'm going to be live streaming the event. So stop by, say what's up to me, say what's up to Osman, say what's up to the Takeout team, say what's up to Zellerfeld because they're going to be there too. It's going to be a crazy event. Again, August 30th at Takeout NY. Make sure to stop by and grab the shoe online if you're not in the area on August 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern time on apothecary.com. With that being said, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the episode. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Shoes Off podcast. Today we have the honor of being not only hosted by Takeout NY, but being able to talk to one of the founders, one of the, I guess, this family of the founders, and then of course Sam as well, who we'll get into more about Sam and everything he's got going on. But thank you guys so much. We've got Frank and Sam. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. This is our this is your house. Yeah. Guys, if you haven't checked out Takeout NY, it is a premier sneaker boutique in the Bronx.
Yes,
and dude, they got every Jordan release. It's wild. They got some crazy stuff. We can get into that later. But in this podcast, I just want to talk to you guys, find out more about the brand, and also sort of the behind the scenes of a sneaker boutique. Because a lot of sneakerheads out there understand it from a buyer's perspective, but maybe don't understand it from literally the nuts and bolts side of things. Like you guys have a completely different understanding of sneakers and of honestly the culture than most buyers do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess to kick it off, I mean, we started about 5 years ago.
Yeah, the rebranding.
Takeout, the rebranding. At the time, coming out of the pandemic, everything was in flux, right? Retail was in flux. So I figured at the time that we needed like a POV, something a little different. Maybe emulate what some of the big guys do, like Kith, Extra Butter Concepts. But we wanted to be more than just retail, right? And from that point on, Sam came on board, and we just kind of took off from there. A lot of community activations, a lot of marketing, a lot of presence on social, and just having like a voice and an aesthetic that I guess people here gravitate towards. So just kind of started from there.
I know you guys took like Takeout from a mom and pop sneaker store into this sick boutique. Can you like talk about like that process of that transition?
Yeah, sure. So at the time there was a lot. I mean, the market was like saturated with just, I don't want to say it's like plain retail, but it was just product everywhere. And we needed to change things up. So I took it over from my father, who was running it, and just kind of thought that what if a retail acted like a brand within itself, and it kind of started from there. Once you start doing that, I feel like you garner some respect because you do have a POV. We feel like these last 5 years just kind of flew by, and like there's so much that we want to accomplish that we haven't yet. So more to come, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's pretty amazing being in the store, and I've only known you guys maybe about 2 years at this point, but maybe not even that, maybe a year and a half. But seeing just the amount that you guys have grown even in that span, but also seeing what it was a year and a half ago. I didn't realize this whole thing was only like less than 5 years old. So seeing all of at least the current iteration, like seeing how dope it is that early
Thank
on
you.
is awesome.
Yeah. But I think it's a testament to the people that you have around you. You know, like we're all grinding, we're all working hard. And we're all trying to do or try different things and experiment here and there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least you're trying. And that's where we kind of want to be.
Awesome. So, Sam, how about you? Tell us about
Yeah,
yourself.
I think it's just a balance, and it's been a great journey. Adding brands were very difficult at the time because you're coming out of the pandemic. A lot of accounts, a lot of brands are closing accounts. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I think we just wanted to carry what we wanted to wear at the end of the day. I think when I came on, we had maybe just the hundreds and just Nike and Adidas clothing. And we wanted to add things that, we wanted to get like discounts on too. And things that I actually lived here 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and be a shop that if you're living around the corner, you could be proud of, carrying things that our friends make, and doing videos about it because we care about it, not everyone else, so kind of getting to that point where you're able to kind of distinguish yourself from everyone else only because that's what you want to do, and hopefully it'll translate to sales. If not, we got to do something very fun.
I know you guys are like really for the community, and that's kind of like what the store's about. And I'm sure people who lived in the neighborhood have seen the transition from what it was to what it is now. What was their like reception to it?
It's been great. I mean, we know a lot of our friends and neighbors that late 90s graffiti writers. Some of them were earlier on. We used to wear North Face, and we used to trade polo. We used to wear Hilfiger, back in the days when it used to be Giorgio's that turned into like Sammy's fashion. Like just knowing everything around like what this neighborhood was like, and seeing a lot of the guys kind of grow up and sort of move in their own careers, in art, graffiti, whatever it might be, and we're just supporting them, and they're supporting us by doing these projects, just to make things a little bit more fun rather than it just being all about just selling shoes. We want to storytell what's been going on in the area. I think there's a lot more that we need to do and that we would like to do, but up until this point, I think that's what we've been doing. Giving a platform to everybody.
Yeah, I think the community appreciates you evolving with the times too. And I think what we present or we try to is something they don't necessarily find anywhere else in the neighborhood. Like there's a lot of stores up on Fordham Road, but maybe we want to challenge them a little bit to look at some other brands. And again, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but I think they kind of came on board like through the years that we keep trying and we keep trying. And by doing that, I think like they feel that it's an authentic approach, and I think they appreciate that. So again, like Sam said, we're not here to sell shoes. We're trying to storytell, and a lot of the storytelling from the Bronx gets lost. A lot of talent comes through the Bronx, and people don't know that. And so we kind of take it upon ourselves to kind of highlight and amplify that a little bit. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, and also I feel like the term community tends to get overused. And when we're saying that, is that we're just trying to storytell for within our bubble, you know, for our friends and, you know, for everyone that we grew up with around here. And we want to tell that story about who we are, you know, like we used to live down the block, or, you know, my friends still live down the block, and we're rocking North Face, not leather bombers, you know, like that's what, like everyone else was wearing, like they were wearing Timberland boots and leather bombers back then. We were wearing Air Max 95s and steep tech jackets, you know. So I think like that kind of gets lost, where, you know, I felt like that whole hiking culture and gorpcore, we were doing that in the 90s. And it was mainly uptown kids. I'm sorry, it wasn't like a Brooklyn thing, that Brooklyn had polo. We were doing North Face at Skate Key, you know, and Spider Jacket, Tommy Mo jackets. And we were collecting and trading, and that was our community before the internet. We all knew each other because we wore certain clothes, you know. And, you know, being in a position where you're able to stock the stuff that you grew up and knowing that this community like loved, even though it may not have been like the, well, I don't know how to say, like a general reflection of the area, because like majority of the guys were wearing, you know, I think they were wearing Timberland 6-inch boots. We were wearing Vask and A-Solo Gore-Tex boots, you know. So like I don't think it's like the area is like a monolithic sort of meme, you know. Like you have a lot of different like perspectives and, you know, styles that came out of like, you know, Fordham, Kingsbridge, Bedford, you know, and Tremont area, Burnside. Everyone is very, you know, I'm not very good at this, but like everyone's very different and everyone has their own perspective. And the Bronx is just more than like a leather jacket and like construction boots, you know?
Right, and I really appreciate the authenticity that you guys bring to this. Like you really do, and knowing you guys for the, you know, the year and a half or 2 years that I've known you guys, it seems like that's true across everything that you guys do, not only in the store but also just the way you conduct business and things like that. So it definitely comes across, I think, for the people who shop around here, and also knowing that this is a store that represents them. Like you don't see, like, I mean, you know, I lived in New York for 4 years. I didn't even know about this store, and it's because I never really ventured outside of the Manhattans or the Brooklyns. And so seeing that there's something this dope that could easily stand alongside any of those sort of boutiques is cool. And knowing that there's something like that for this area is really cool, because we have some of that in Philly, but it'd be cool to have something like that or something like this, you know, in multiple parts of Philly, and just kind of have that same sort of representation. Yeah.
Because each neighborhood's different. I mean, obviously, Philly and New York, you know, has a collective opinion, but like you said, the Bronx is different than Brooklyn, different than Manhattan, Lower East Side, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought up like certain brands like North Face and, you know, like the Air Maxes and everything is because we're seeing, you know, a lot of this stuff trending with the younger generation, and we wanted to use that as an opportunity to kind of storytell, you know, where that actually came from, and why it was more popular in the streets. And, you know, like it wasn't just a Bronx thing, it wasn't just an NYC thing, but, you know, a lot of us we were wearing it, you know, back in the days, and we used to go downtown and we used to hang out in the village and hang out with everyone else that were like-minded. You know, we used to come from all 5 boroughs, well, maybe all 4 boroughs, and we used to come in and we used to do deals and swap Polo, North Face, you know, Tommy Mo jackets, Spider Mo jackets, and everything else. And at the same time, everybody were all into sneakers and kicks. It wasn't such a big commodity back then. So, you know, never had a hard time acquiring the sneakers like you had in the last 10 years. But, you know, I think it's cool.
How is owning and running a sneaker business in these last 5 years, where things have become more like a commodity and more like, especially going through COVID and dealing with all the huge spike and now sort of the lull? Like, I'm sure it's been a roller coaster compared to, you know, the 10, 20 years before that. You know, how's that been? How are you guys dealing with that?
Yeah. Well, I think everything's more democratic now. Like, people have a lot more options than they used to. Right. It's funny because, you know, like you said, Oz, like, you know, every neighborhood is different here in New York. But if there's like a common denominator, like we know like sneaker culture through the years, that's been like the common denominator. Like, no matter like what background you're from, like, you know, you're all fighting for the same pair, right? I think that ultimately, yeah, it's been ebbs and flows in the last 5 years, but I think success like kind of just hits you like exponential. Like it could be a low, and then all of a sudden you'll see some growth. So I don't see it as like a linear thing or something that we have to sit at a round table and discuss like financials, you know, stuff like that. I think we just have to keep true to what we've been doing and stay authentic and keep relaying that message. And I think folks will come to respect it and they'll come visit the shop. You know, we've been doing all right. You know, like here on the brick and mortar side, yeah, we're fighting with a lot of big boxes and we're fighting over discounts and promotions here and there. But we also have a digital presence, and you know, that's helped a lot. You know, buoyed by the fact that we do have a personality and a little bit of a different collection than what you'll find at like maybe a Foot Locker.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming that having like you guys have a really excellent variety, and it's all very well thought out. It's all very tailored to the area. But I feel like, you know, for one of those big box retailers, or maybe a store that's smaller that's based off of that big box retailer model, they probably don't have the staying power just because they don't have the amount of variety that you guys have in terms of things. Is I guess variety of stock a big part of the success?
Yeah, I mean, inventory is your lifeline, and I think every retailer will tell you that. You know, some of the, you know, there's hits and misses. Your hits cover for some of the losses that you know, you find through your losses, right? And it just keeps bouncing that way. You know, I don't know, Sam.
I think we've been pretty experimental. We take on risk in terms of like adding new brands that we feel that everyone would like it, you know, and we try it out. And I think it makes it exciting for our regulars that come into the shop and see what we put out on the floor and see if they discover something that they can gravitate to, you know. What I miss that.
What we also have is flexibility. You know, being smaller, like we're agile. So we could onboard brands that or like brands that maybe the big boxes wouldn't consider. You know, we dabble a lot with brands that our friends, you know, break. And I think, you know, customers kind of gravitate towards that because it's a little bit different than what they normally see.
How do you pick? I know you mentioned some ways, but how do you pick brands? Because you're really forecasting of what, you know, the people shopping here is gonna wear. Yeah. So how do you? What is like some things you're looking for when looking for new brands?
I think just keeping an open mind. You know, I think, you know, if our friends are creating a new brand and we want to get behind it because it's cool and it's more unique to us, and we respect and appreciate that. At the same time, if we're being introduced to a new brand, you know, it's just kind of like, would I wear it? Like, would Romeo wear it? You know, it's kind of like there's a consensus. You know, it's not something that we kind of go off on our own and add in. It's just more about like, does it mean something to us? You know, and that's where we kind of use as like a catalyst of like what we're going to stock.
We also see like a wider trend of things. But from there, like we'll identify a brand, and a lot of times you find it through social media, right? You identify a brand, and then you see like in the last couple of years who have they partnered with, or like what kind of projects have been doing, and we look at that message, and if it resonates with us, we're definitely gonna try to approach them, right? So it could be like right now, you know, APTHCRY that Sam talks about could be on the up and up, right? So in that sense, maybe we'll talk to like a Wilson, or, you know, there's, you know, Sam has a friend out on the West Coast that has a tennis shop, you know, stuff like that. We look at the wider trend and then try to narrow it down to like a message that we kind of resonate with.
So in terms of, and again, like we sort of talked about this before, but obviously not getting into any kind of actual financials or anything, but in terms of sneakers, right? Because I know that sneakers have lower margins, presumably than clothing, I would assume, apparel. Is that true?
Depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like for example, like, you know, we stock like a, you know, like a Japanese like hiking brand, for example. after like customs and paying for the fees, the margins are like razor thin.
Right.
But
Right.
it's stuff that we want.
Yeah.
And it just depends.
So I would assume based on that, like, like having these big accounts like you guys have, having these, like, being at the top of the food chain in terms of you guys get the big releases before other stores do. I guess for a store, and I guess this might just be true I wanted to ask, I guess on behalf of all boutiques, are the limited releases, are those really more of like almost even marketing for you guys? Because I'm assuming your bread and butter isn't off of like the Nigel Sylvesters. So is that sort of like a way to get people in the door, and then you're hoping that they kind of stay and check out the other dope stuff you guys have? Or is that sort of I don't know.
It's
ahead.
definitely like customer acquisition and marketing, because you're not they don't deploy enough inventory for you to be able to pay all your bills with it. And
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that on the marketing side, because we'll take like the bricks that came out, right? Like, if we want to activate that shoe, or like if we obviously in partnership with the brand, like know where we have flexibility to activate for like a particular release. We'll look at how many pairs we're receiving from that, and we'll kind of allocate the profits that we project to make from that shoe to activating it beforehand. So whether it's shooting a video or a window graphic or
But depends. Like, there are certain releases that the brands will ask you to use their proprietary,
right. So
assets.
like, it's like sometimes they give us a little flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this will be fun to run with. I think the customers up here need to be represented, and like we kind of feel like we represent them. So we'll like if it's a video, we'll shoot it with that in mind. Like, we're not gonna come at it from a point of view that's like from somewhere else. Like, it's we have to stay true to the Bronx. So we're gonna story tell that shoe, or whatever campaign it is, from those lens. And it takes a lot of creativity and a lot of collaboration, but when it works, it works.
No, yeah. And our customers are pretty loyal. They want us to get the releases because then they're going to get it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they get upset if we're not included in a certain assortment. That's because they aren't able to get it otherwise. At retail, they might have to go to the gray market to source something that they really wanted. So, they support us in that sense because they know that we're going to be there for them, So
Yeah, maybe one myth is that if you're at a certain caliber of a store, that you get every release, but no store gets every release at all. Yeah, It doesn't work out that way. Maybe even if something comes in a pack, you might get one out of that pack of 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's all brand strategy and segmentation. We honestly don't know all the inner workings and discussions that happen before that, but that's all pre-planned out months and months and months in advance.
By the big brands.
By the big
Yeah,
brands.
So they'll just hit you guys up saying, we have these for you. Do you want them? More or less.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we're on the come up, so we're not like one of those big sneaker stores that get everything. Like, even when we get something special, it might be just like a size run, and people are kind of clawing at it.
Yeah. So, we'll put on Instagram that we're releasing something. Maybe folks have in mind that, there'll be enough pairs to go around. Not at all. It doesn't work out that way at all. It could be a limited shoe, but then the number of quantity of pairs that we get is also limited on top of that.
Yeah,
So,
and therefore, then we might have to do like a digital raffle.
Yeah.
If they give us plenty and the demand isn't so high, we will just have an internal discussion. Like, is it safe to release it like first come, first serve? And
that's
because-
the primary
yeah,
discussion.
Safety, yeah.
When you look at if it's a raffle or first come, that's the only discussion. Is it safe to be a first come type of shoe? If not, then we'll just we'll play it safe.
And that's gauged by hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that just is that up to the stores, whether it's a raffle or so the brand's not saying like, hey, this should be a raffle, hey, this should be they're just like, here's the small assortment that you get, figure out how to.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think the only rules are like when you can publicly talk about that release.
Yeah, there's like an embargo date.
Yeah. But from there, and you'll see it across the board. Like if the hype is real, most stores are raffling, right? So,
Just based off, it's just
Yeah.
off safety. They don't want like a fight or something like that.
Being sneaker retailers, what is your opinion on the gray market resale?
I don't know. I feel like there's opinion you could have, and it's constantly changing. I don't think the sneaker industry or the market is the same as it was, let's just say like 10 years ago at its height. So right now, I don't know.
I think the gray market is a good research tool. Like you could tell when a brand is hot or when a release is really hot. You know, it's the first thing that you could Google search, and then you'll see StockX, and like you'll see the price on it or whatnot. And so that's mostly we base, you know, research on that. But it could help the brand, I think, because a lot of times they'll release something not knowing what the reception would be, and then they'll see that the gray market's like blowing up about it. It's great for the brand, right? So I know that brands don't make a decision based on what gray market does, but I think it's a good indicator overall.
That makes sense. Something like the Nike Rejuvenates. I don't think Nike saw that being the crazy hit that it was. I didn't even see it being a crazy hit. But then I go on TikTok and my friend Steve posts a video. It's 70 million views, and I'm like, all right, well maybe this is a hit for them.
Yeah, gray market's faster than retail when it comes to that. You know, we rely on the gray market to kind of even determining, like you said, safety for a release. Like that helps, you know,
because you can see rough prices before they drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the reason why we'll raffle is because we kind of randomize the winners as much as possible, and if you just do first come on some of those releases, it's only going to be the resellers benefiting because they have the flexibility of just kind of like popping up whenever it's released to line up and purchase a pair, versus someone who might be at work or have other obligations.
Yeah, and that's the people you want to serve most.
Yeah, we want to serve our customers, and the only way you're able to do that with a limited run is with like raffles. A lot of times.
The fair way.
Yeah, it's fair because it's pretty randomized. Provided they're like within our zip code, which that's something that we sort of like that might not be that fair. Is like you sort of prioritize the zip code near the shop because you want those customers in your store because they're within walking distance, or they can just drive over really quickly and they can eventually be loyal customers in the future.
And that makes sense. I think that's something that Nike struggles with. They want to give the people who really want the shoes, who really want to wear the shoes, the access to the shoes. That's what the early access is, but it doesn't always, especially online, it's so hard to determine that. But I guess for a store like you guys who knows the community, it's part of the community, it's easier to determine. And obviously it's still random, still fair, but like, you know, you get that nice feeling. It's like, oh, like if I do a giveaway on YouTube and I've seen that person comment like 10 different times, I'm like, that's dope that he's the one who got that.
Yeah.
Isn't that the best feeling though?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And like they'll come back a week later wearing the shoe. Like that's I don't know what it is about it, but it's just like, it's like, that's success right there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you see it too.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
Your viewership. Yeah.
With like raffles, you know, like our managers and store staff, they get to meet the winners. Like there's like a first name. It's not like so transactional. The person's, the winner is like happy that they won something and they're coming in. So there's like a positive, like sort of like experience for them. So, you know, even though for us internally, raffle is a lot more work, you know, it's a more impactful way of releasing the shoe. You know?
Well, we have a kind of limited amount of time because you guys have been closing the store for us, and we've kept you closed for a couple hours. So I definitely want to continue this discussion in an upcoming podcast whenever you guys are free. But thank you guys so much for coming on. Yeah.
What's next for Takeout?
Yes. Good question.
What's next is our New Jersey location that we're planning to launch. It's been a little bit delayed, but I think we're gonna have it up and open before fall.
Dope.
Of 2025.
Yeah,
and
we're aiming for early September, and I think the challenge there will be a lot different than the challenge here. It's a whole new customer base, whole new demographic, but it's exciting and we're ready for it.
Yes, it's learning who they are, like you've learned who your neighborhood here is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That in that sense, and also I think it's going to lead to other more fun, like really fun projects. That we're going to have to learn how to balance. But we're going to go pretty hard for the New Jersey open. So, you know, in terms of like our creative juices are running, there's so many different ideas that we're bouncing back and forth. And we're really excited for this new store to launch.
Yeah, I think ultimately we want Takeout to be more than just a retail space. Whatever that may lead to, it is what it is, and we'll see it when it happens. But I don't have like a specific like goal in mind, but I feel like we could be a little bit more than just a retail destination. So that's the plan.
So I think when you guys open that, I'd love to have another podcast and sort of talk about the experience opening that. I think that's going to be sick. So
Oh, we would love it.
that'd be dope. Before you guys go, we do have a gift for you. Actually, by the way, Takeout is actually currently the only retailer that carries Apothecary socks. So if you want to get Apothecary socks in person, you got to stop by Takeout NY. Plus, we may or may not be launching the new 3D printed Apothecary shoe at Takeout. So come through. But we want to give you guys this pair of socks. It's a mystery bag. So Osman packed it about a week ago. So yeah, you guys can open it. You don't have to open it. Whatever you guys want to do. But
The packaging's sick.
thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Kind of reminds me of what was it? The Convini?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? What was it the Convini? What was it?
I don't know what that
was
is, but I'm gonna take it
brand?
as a compliment. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, we might frame this packaging.
Hey, if you want one that's not used, I can send you some of those. But yeah, guys. Well, thank you so much. Where can everyone find you guys?
Well, we're on 188th and Grand Concourse, 2435 Grand Concourse off of Fordham Road in the Bronx.
And you could also find us on Instagram, TaKNY. No, TaKOUTNY.
Right back there.
Yeah.
Right
NY.
back there. Guys, seriously, they're the best. They've obviously been really good friends to us and are supporting our brand, which we really appreciate. But also, like, genuinely, it's a dope store. They're good people. They have a crazy selection. So seriously, stop by. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.